I am so excited about a new book I've written. It's about seniors, whom I like to call the inspired retired. These are folks who have made the successful transition from the workaday world to the retirement years. Everybody from the senior next door to the most famous celebrity. And they're impacting their families, their community, their nation, and even the world. I had a chance to interview some of them, and I'd love to give you a sneak peek about what's in my book. Let's take a look. You say to someone who's nearing retirement age, whether they're in the 50s, 60s, whatever, what would you say to them if they're, they've been working 30, 40 years, and now all of a sudden age has crept up on them, and maybe they feel a little insecure as to, what they're going to do next.
Find something that they have a dream, a desire them that makes them happy and feel good. It could be either a hobby, anything from reading books, taking pictures, traveling, anything that they feel that's missing, have them pursue that, because that's something that's like the end of the book.
Mm-hmm. Now, here you are, the Hulk series or something is behind you. Where do you go next? How does a person make a transition, whether they're 62 years old or whether they're 52 years old? What did they start thinking? How did they start thinking, what do I want to do next?
As long as you keep your hunger, as long as you put in your head that if you're 40, you're 50, 60, it doesn't mean you feel, okay, I'm an old man now, I feel like I have to get in the rocking chair. No, because if you have to drive, if you take care of your body, there's no reason why you can't perform well if you're like at 20 or 30. But what you do is you bring age into the process. You accept the age. Like, for example, an acting role. Most actors, like 60, 70, they keep acting, but they act as they get older. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, everything else in life. Because we don't know much about our life till we're like in the 40s or 50s. Mm-hmm. And kind of like a wake-up call. And because, I think we spend half our life looking for what we want to do. But I think that the inner peace, and most people come in after 50 years old because you know that you mature.
What you're here for.
Right, you have the same energy. If you keep the same energy, there's no reason why you can keep conquering the world. But it all has to do, as long as you have the hunger inside of you. Because everybody has a handicap one way or another.
Yep.
Emotional, weight loss, it could be weight gain, it could be drinking, it could be a psychological thing. But once they're able to deal with the fear, then I can help them cross the line. Mm-hmm. Some people pretend to be perfect.
Yeah, you say about people who have a hearing loss, and not like you. I'm talking presbycusis, where they gradually got the hearing loss.
Yeah,
now all of a sudden they're 60 and they find themselves with a hearing loss. They're like afraid to get the hearing aid, or
well, that's why we have a company called Starkey, and that's why they make you feel comfortable at ease. That's why tonight we have the gala. That's why we have all this. Okay to get the hearing aids. That's why you see all these different celebrities, like Robert Cole, Mickey Rooney, Steve Martin, all wearing hearing aids. It's okay. I don't have to deal with the rejection. Yeah. And once they have the hearing aid, but it's an amazing thing, because I understand most of your life you have great hearing, and forget it could be worse. You can end up being dead. You can end up drowning or something. But just saying that it could be a minor thing instead of a major thing. That's why fortunately we have Starkey. So
it's a good.
That I was losing my hearing, and it's gotten progressive. It's progressively deteriorated over the years, but thank God for Bill and Starkey Laboratories, and I've been an acolyte of his ever since.
That's great.
But I've always been very involved in athletics, and I've always felt that acting was a part of my life, but it wasn't my whole life. Mm-hmm. My family is very important to me, and my husband and I have a very active life. We work a lot for a foundation in Mammoth building a college. Mm. My husband has been on the board of directors for the last 15 years, and every time he starts to say this, driving back and forth to Los Angeles to Mammoth, which is 6 hours.
Oh wow.
To go up there for a meeting is, and I keep encouraging him to stick with it, because it's something that requires a great deal of his time and effort, and it gives him a place in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People need to work.
I agree.
I need to work. the bad part about being an actress is that you have a song to sing and no one wants to listen anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
I
You don't
know.
have an audience.
I know, I'm a songwriter. I know all about that.
Oh, well, you know, a bird does not sing
Yeah.
because it wants to. It sings because it has a song.
Yeah.
Can't help itself. Actors get very frustrated when they're not working. So I have found that athletics and other diversions keep the frustration level down. But I would still be acting if someone would hire me.
Are there, you know, acting is part of your life, but not your entire life. So that's going to help someone who's transitioning into less and less roles, because if your entire identity was wrapped up in the fact that you were an actress, the idea of retirement years would be very threatening to you.
I think it is to a lot of actresses and actors, because their own personal identity is so wrapped up in what they do that when no one wants their product anymore, it's a personal rejection.
Instead of them being wrapped up in who they are.
Yeah. We have 3 children and we have grandchildren, and the children are an enormous part
Sure.
of our lives. And I'm very flattered that they still want to be with us. I don't know what retirement really means. We're both looking forward to it one of these days. We're always saying, is this it now? We just bought a new home and we're going to remodel the whole thing. And I thought this was supposed to be our retirement years, when we were going to sit back and watch the cloud formation. But I guess it isn't going to happen. And
Did you ever think? I mean, just projecting ahead. I mean, I'm certainly aging. I'm looking forward to certain changes in my life, and I wonder if I had an old semantics professor who used to say the map is not the territory. In other words, what you think something might be isn't necessarily what it is. Did you ever think of looking ahead toward those retirement years and saying, boy, this is not at all what I thought was going to happen. I'm buying a house, I've got grandkids, I've got, you know, doing this, doing that.
yeah, well, aging gracefully is something that people who are 25 years old think is going to happen. It's not for sissies. There are aches and pains and doctor's appointments galore, and it's a pain in the
Beep.
a lot of times it's a pain. But then again, it's a wonderful life that I have, and I'm very, very blessed and grateful for all of the beautiful things that my husband and I have accomplished in our lives. We're very grateful, and we acknowledge it every day. And we thank God for our position in life to be able to have the freedom and have the lifestyle that we do.
Yeah. Well, you got 9 players, right? How many grandchildren?
Well, I got 9 grandchildren.
So you got 9 grandchildren, keeps you busier than 9 players.
Yeah, well, eight grandsons, and you know, they range from 22 years old all the way down to 4, and they're all involved in sports. I've had 3 of them get married this past year. My granddaughter is the oldest. But I found out something about retirement that to me is, I'm a diabetic too. I remember I was having some problems hearing. My granddaughter said to me one time, she said, "Papa, you better get your ears fixed." And of course I ended up getting hearing aids from New Ear and Starkey and so forth, and I've had them now for a number of years. They're wonderful. The big thing though about retirement is staying busy.
9 grandkids and all your kids. I bet you when Poppy shows up, you put a smile on their face.
Well,
I mean, that's a whole new ball game for you.
They like when Papa shows up. They all call me Papa. And the thing about it, Bobby, if you go see one play a Little League game, you better
go see the other.
You better go see the other. And when you
What's
got
the most exciting plays you've seen?
You got 2 in St. Louis, and you got 4 in Tulsa, and you got 3 more in Kansas City. You know, you're kind of making the circle, you know. And then I got a lot of charity golf tournaments. I think it's very, very important for me to talk only about the positive things. If he struck out twice, to tell him what a good play he made backing up to first baseman when he blew the ball. That was really good hustle. That's being alert. Always try to, every game they play, and make something positive for them. And I've found that that's true in every walk of life.
That keeps them going?
That keeps them going. That pumps them up, because then they forget about striking out twice.
You do a lot of speaking. You're a public figure. and a famous guy. And people are looking forward to, hearing from you. But if you can't hear them, so the hearing aids, you mentioned like being on a platform, might be 1,000 people out there, and you hit a button and you can, just from your hearing aids, you can hear during the Q&A. And it must have been embarrassing not to be able to field those questions.
I want to tell you, since I've got the digital hearing aids, and I can push out the background noise, and I can get on a podium now, and there's 1,000 people, and sometimes I think adults make more noise than kids. And when you get done speaking, and it is somebody that's a bunch of baseball people or sports people, they want to ask you some questions. Now, if there's background noise over here, I can push this button, and I can hear that guy ask me that question. It's the same thing at home. If I've got TV on over here, my wife's over in the kitchen, I can understand her now. It's like night and day what it was.
What I tell them, because you're here, but I say it helps, hearing helps keep you in the ball game of retirement. If you can't hear, you're going to start paddling your way away from golf benefits and this kind of stuff because it's embarrassing.
Yeah. See, I used to get off airplane when even the last few years I managed, and my ears would be plugged up. I couldn't hear, I couldn't give a reporter an interview, I couldn't answer questions and so forth, maybe 15, 20 minutes. For some reason now, when I wear my hearing aids when I fly, I can talk when the plane hits the ground. I think the one thing that I've learned is you got to stay busy, but you got to exercise. And I think too many people get to the age where they say, I want to retire at 62, I want to retire at 65, or maybe it's 70 and they're pretty good health. They retire, they think they're done. They go get them a bag of golf clubs, they put them on a cart and they almost hit their ball when they swing. They don't get much exercise. I found out that for the last 7, 8 years, I pump iron 3 times a week, do the treadmill 45 minutes a day. On the days I don't pump iron, I always do at least 55 to 60 minutes on the machines, the new step, the treadmill, and the bicycle. And on the other 3 days when I do pump the iron. I think that's very important to work up that body, get that body working every day, perspire a little bit, and keep busy and keep your weight down. And I think that's very important for everybody that retires.
Well, you're by your exercising, you're basically giving your body, your mind, and your soul the fuel to have a good, healthy retirement, and to be an important person, not just when you're in the public, but for your family, for those kids that are saying, "Hey, Papa's going to come and watch my baseball game." That's gotta send them off, and I bet you it sends off their friends too. Hey, Mr. Herzog's coming. It's got to be important.
I'll be 73 years old in November, and
you look great.
And people say to me, you don't look a day older now. Well, maybe that's a nice compliment. Maybe they don't say that behind my back. But the big thing I want to say is, I feel good about that.
Sure.
Because I know that people say, "How come you got out of baseball 10 years ago or 11 years ago?" I haven't lost a game now since 1990, on July the 4th. But the thing about it is, if I had stayed in baseball, if I had continued to manage, and I hadn't continued to exercise and do the things I want and get to watch my grandchildren, maybe I wouldn't be living today.
That's right.
And I think it's very important that I did make that decision. I wanted to spend a little more time with my grandkids, see them grow up. How much money do you need? Not that I'm wealthy, I couldn't use more money or for my kids and grandkids, but I've got enough. And I'm not worried about that.
You don't see retirement as like some mystical, magical stop sign. It seems to me like it was just another step along your path of life.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like there's any demarcation there for you.
No, I had spent 47 years in professional baseball. And I had 2 years where I was in the Army, but I played baseball and I got my first managing job at Fort Leonard Wood, so I was in baseball then too. And I just kind of figured I had enough. I said, now I've got grandkids, I've got my 3 kids are all married, all got their education, all going to work. Let's enjoy life a little bit. Let's go ahead and visit and spend more time, and that's what I've done, and I've really enjoyed it.
I got a mission, I got a purpose, and I think people need a purpose in their lives. When they have a purpose, then when you're getting a little momentary break from that, that becomes special, and that's something you remember too. But it's like having all icing and no cake, no substance to it. I know guys that have retired and they really enjoyed golf, and then when they went to play every day, they really missed their work and missed having a purpose and direction. Yeah, well, you got to pursue something that you find is meaningful to you, that you find is that you live through what you. something that you can contribute to humanity that makes the world better. And when you find that and you find your purpose, you'll never get tired. You'll want to keep working and being part of it.
You're 62.
Right.
You don't need to come to work every day. You could retire.
I could have retired many, many, many years ago.
But you're going somewhere.
Right.
Where do you think you're going next?
Where I'm going is to Monterrey, Mexico, to fit some children with hearing aids so they can be part of life, so they can develop their fullest potential and exchange their thoughts and ideas and feelings and develop their character and be all they can be for our world. Thing for me to do. Everybody that's thinking about retiring needs to find something that's within their talents and skills that they can give back. And
So
when
they
you do that,
they don't have to look 10 years down the road.
no, you can. There's always something you can do to make the world better. You know, I know people that have retired, you know, involuntarily because of their health and
Sure.
and their whatever, and they get into maybe they have to go to a nursing home, but they still contribute to making that nursing home better. They do think they help organize and activities and whatever. So there's no
It's not about age.
no, there's no point in your life when you can't give something back to make your community better. Your community is your town, our world. You know, your
Family,
community is
whatever.
your nursing home if you're living there. And we're community animals. Human beings are designed to help each other, and that's the good part about this great design.
So you don't believe in retirement?
Not at all, because then if you quit and you're just thinking about yourself, it's an empty life. You're not giving back. You're not helping someone else.
Now that is what I call the inspired retired. They all had one thing in common, a hearing disability, but they didn't let it stop them, and they didn't put it off the way so many people do. They got it taken care of by getting a hearing test, by getting hearing aids, and that in part enabled them to make the successful transition that we were talking about into what many of them now term the time of their lives.